segment under item 4, which is reserved for public comments of a general nature. That will be the time when any members of the audience, if they have any questions or comments of a general nature with respect to things not on tonight's agenda, is when I'll invite you up to share those with the Village Council. It is our proud custom to begin our meetings by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. So at this juncture, I would like to ask everyone to please rise and join us in reciting the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. I'd now like to ask our fine village clerk, April Holden, to please call the roll.
Commissioner Waldeck.
Here.
Commissioner White.
Here.
Commissioner Vatimo.
Here.
Commissioner Jose.
Here.
Commissioner Olson. Commissioner Barnett. Mayor Tully.
Here. That brings us, thank you. That brings us to item 3, which pertains to minutes of prior council meetings. We have one set of minutes to review and approve tonight. Those are our minutes from our regular village council meeting of December 1st, 2015. Are there any changes, comments, corrections, modifications, or otherwise?
Mayor, I move that we adopt and accept the minutes from that last meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Those minutes are accepted. Thank you. And just like that, we're at item 4. This is the segment of the meeting that's reserved for public comments of a general nature. If any members of the audience have any questions or comments of a general nature with respect to things that are not on our agenda tonight, this would be the opportunity to share them. The protocol is to please come to the podium, let us know who you are, and we welcome hearing from you. Since I don't see anyone rushing the podium, we will move on to item 5, which is our consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Mayor, I move that we adopt the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Any questions or comments from any members of the audience with respect to any of the items on tonight's consent agenda? Any questions or comments from members of the Village Council with respect to any of the items on tonight's consent agenda? Hearing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner White.
Aye.
Commissioner Waldeck.
Aye.
Commissioner Vatimo.
Aye.
Commissioner Jose.
Aye.
Mayor Tully.
Aye. Consent agenda passes unanimously. That brings us to item 6, our active agenda. We have a number of items on tonight's active agenda. We'll begin with item 6A. Do I have a motion to adopt an ordinance regarding the 2015 aggregate tax levy?
I move that we adopt the 2015 aggregate tax levy ordinance as presented.
Second.
Questions or comments from members of the audience? Questions or comments from members of the Village Council? Commissioner Jose?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll keep this brief because I think I made my feelings known during the budgeting process. I believe that we failed to reduce spending as we could have by cutting a couple of relatively easy-to-cut projects. We could have reduced spending to offset at least a portion of this tax increase that's coming to cover the pension levy. And as a result, I'm going to be voting against the aggregate tax levy. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Other questions or comments from members of the Village Council? Not to repeat too much what I've said in the past, but I actually have a completely different view. I think that it is our duty to make sure that residents know that the sole reason for this increase of approximately $900,000 is an unfunded mandate dictated to us by Springfield to cover the cost of increases for public safety employee pension funds. I don't want to be an apologist for Springfield. I think that that's where the issue needs to be corrected. We cannot correct it here at the municipal level. It must be done at the state level. I think it would be a huge mistake for us to take the public's attention off of where corrections to the system need to be made in order to avoid increases like this in the future. Personally, I'm very proud that this village has not made any increases in its levy for its operations. And those have either been flat or have gone down over the last 4 or 5 years, which is something I would challenge our colleagues in Springfield to try just doing once. So I would like to maintain the pressure on them. I think it's important that in the interest of transparency that our residents know the reasons for this increase and for us not to essentially pass on Springfield's bad acts by gutting our own services and to our own residents. Let's fix this problem where it exists. Number 2, I also think it would have been imprudent to have made these cuts because we're continuing to see more and more, I'll call it shenanigans from Springfield in terms of challenges to our revenues. Until very recently, there was a substantial amount of money being withheld that was owed to us by the state that was just released, but only after many, many months of shenanigans. And those dollar amounts are significant. And to the extent that we can expect to see more threats to our revenue, we need to engage in local control as much as possible and make sure that our residents are receiving the services that they've come to deserve and earn, and they know directly what they're paying for and who's providing it to them. And I would hate to have been in a situation where we not only had made those cuts, but then had to make an additional $1 million in cuts based on threats that were lobbed at us from Springfield. So I continue to think that this is the more prudent way to go. That being said, I've also said, number 3, that the 2016 budget, as it is balanced, due to no small feat of efforts by our fine staff, is entirely unsustainable, and this council very well may need to make, and this community very well may need to make some very serious decisions next year for the 2017 budget. Roll call, please.
Commissioner White?
Aye.
Commissioner Waldeck?
Aye.
Commissioner Fatimo? Aye. Commissioner Jose?
Nay.
Mayor Tully?
Aye, that matter passes by a vote of 4-1. That brings us to item 6B as in boy. Do I have a motion adopting an ordinance levying taxes for the fiscal year commencing on the first day of January 2015 and ending on the 31st day of December 2015 for the Village of Downers Grove Special Service Area Number 2, also known as Downers Grove Downtown Service Area?
I move that we adopt I move the motion as stated and presented.
Second.
Questions or comments from members of the audience? Questions or comments from members of the Village Council? Roll call, please.
Commissioner White?
Aye.
Commissioner Waldeck?
Aye.
Commissioner Fatimo? Aye. Commissioner Jose?
Aye.
Mayor Tully?
Aye. That matter passed unanimously. Brings us to item 6C as in Charlie. Do I have a motion to adopt an ordinance levying of taxes for the fiscal year commencing on January 1st, 2015 and ending on December 31st, 2015 for the Village of Downers Grove Special Service Area Number 4, also known as the Green Acres Subdivision?
I move the ordinance as stated and presented.
Second.
Questions or comments from the audience? Questions or comments from the council? May I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner White?
Aye.
Commissioner Waldeck?
Aye.
Commissioner Fatimo? Aye. Commissioner Jose?
Aye.
Mayor Tully?
Aye. That matter passed unanimously and brings us to item 6D as in David. Do I have a motion to adopt an ordinance levying taxes for the fiscal year commencing on January 1st, 2015 and ending on December 31st, 2015 for the Village of Downers Grove Special Service Area Number 5, also known as Atwood Subdivision?
I move to adopt the ordinance as stated and presented.
Second.
Questions or comments from any members of the audience? Questions or comments from any members of the Village Council? Hearing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner White?
Aye.
Commissioner Waldeck?
Aye.
Commissioner Fatimo? Aye. Commissioner Jose?
Aye.
Mayor Tully?
Aye. That also passes unanimously and brings us to item 6E as in Edward. Do I have a motion to adopt an ordinance levying taxes for the same fiscal year running from January 1st, 2015 through December 31st, 2015 for the Village of Downers Grove Special Service Area Number 6, also known as the Fairview Fire Protection District?
I move to adopt the ordinance as stated and presented.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments from any members of the audience? Are there any questions or comments from members of the Village Council? Hearing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner White?
Aye.
Commissioner Waldeck?
Aye.
Commissioner Fatimo? Aye. Commissioner Jose?
Aye.
Mayor Tully?
Aye, that matter passes unanimously and brings us to item 6F as in Frank. Do I have a motion to adopt an ordinance levying taxes for the same fiscal year, 1/1/15 through 12/31/15, for the Village of Downers Grove Special Service Area Number 7, known as the Dunham Subdivision?
I move to adopt the ordinance as stated and presented.
Second.
Questions or comments from the audience? Questions or comments from the Village Council? Hearing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner White?
Aye.
Commissioner Waldeck?
Aye.
Commissioner Fatimo? Aye. Commissioner Jose?
Aye.
Mayor Tully?
Aye, that also passes unanimously and brings us to item 6G as in Gus. Do I have a motion to adopt an ordinance levying taxes for fiscal year 2015 for the Village of Downers Grove Special Service Area Number 8, also known as Nelson Meadows Subdivision?
I move to adopt the ordinance as stated and presented.
Second.
Any questions or comments on this item from members of the audience? Are there any questions or comments from members of the Village Council? Hearing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner White?
Aye.
Commissioner Waldeck?
Aye.
Commissioner Fatimo? Aye. Commissioner Jose?
Aye.
Mayor Tully?
Aye, that matter passed unanimously. One nice thing about this is we are reminded at least once a year of what all the special service areas are. Let's move on then to items 6H through Q, 6 Henry through Quiver. Do I have a motion to adopt ordinances ORD 2015-6529 through ORD 2015-6537 and ORD 2015-6554, also known as active agenda items 6H through Q as presented?
I move to adopt these various ordinances as stated and presented.
Second.
Are there any questions or comments from members of the audience? Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor Tully and
We were starting to get
commissioners
lonely.
and staff. Yes, I've been on vacation, so I can appreciate that you might be lonely. But we did get back last week, and so I'm here today. And I
Welcome
wanted to thank the staff for cutting down on the number of trees we've sacrificed for our agenda this week and incorporating all of these items related to the tax levy and abatement in one or two, I guess, one double-sided sheet of paper instead of having individual items in the, what used to be the green sheets and are now the public documents distributed at the meeting. I also want to congratulate the village again on abating, successfully managing to find other funds to pay off the general obligation bonds that have been issued over the last few years. I think that's a very important practice of the village to pay for these things with funds other than the tax levy that would be the source of last resort for paying these bonds. And again, indicates the very sound financial planning the village has done. So those were the comments that I wanted to make at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate your comments. Any other questions or comments from members of the audience with respect to items 6H through Q? Questions or comments from members of the village council? I'll just remind everyone that items 6A through G were levy ordinances that we just passed, which empowered the village to levy property taxes in the amount stated. Items 6H through Q, as was just indicated, are abatements, which means that we will not be collecting on a substantial portion of the tax levy that we just passed because we have other sources of revenue to pay for the obligations for these bond issuances. And I'm glad that we can continue to do that as we have for many years. And again, some folks ask us, well, why do you levy that much and then abate it? And the short answer is because that's the way it works in accordance with state law. Roll call, please.
Commissioner White?
Aye.
Commissioner Waldeck?
Aye.
Commissioner Fatimo?
Aye.
Commissioner Jose?
Aye.
Mayor Tully?
Aye. Abatements all passed unanimously. And that brings us to the end of our active agenda. That brings us to item 7, our first reading or our workshop agenda. This is a more informal discussion where items are presented for consideration, discussion only. No action will be taken at this time. We have one item on tonight's first reading or workshop agenda. That's item 7A. As is customary, I usually ask the village manager or one of his designees to introduce the item, so I will do so now.
Thank you, Mayor Tully.
Good evening.
This ordinance would amend our village council meeting schedule and would result in no council meetings occurring on election days. This item was presented as a new business item by Commissioner Olson just last week. We're happy to answer any questions the council may have.
Thank you. Questions or comments from members of the village council on this workshop item? I'll just mention one again, I have no problem with this as long as it is known sufficiently in advance that it doesn't interfere with staff's ability and the village council's ability to essentially conduct the people's business in a timely and responsible manner. Since this is being done so far in advance, I am fully confident that staff can schedule around election nights when they take place so that there will be no disruption in the delivery of services to our community.
We concur. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the audience? Hello again.
Good evening again. I'm still Gordon Goodman, 5834 Middaw, and I fully support this provision. I originally suggested the possibility of moving the council meetings from Mondays to Tuesdays because of the long holiday weekends that often occur. And so Mondays were difficult days, and we had many times when the schedule of presenting things to the council was disrupted. I'm pleased to see that the council has moved to Tuesdays, and we haven't had that problem. But I do think that this is a very good recognition that every once in a while, Tuesdays are awkward for the council to meet, and with only one of those Tuesdays at most a year set aside for elections, I think that this is a very good recognition that there are other things that occupy people's attentions on those Tuesdays. I used to participate in the counting over at the county, and it's a little less onerous now with the computers, but it still is quite a dramatic day, and it would be much better for the council to concentrate on the village business on days when they and the rest of the community are not distracted by looking to the outcome of the election. So thank you very much for considering this, and I fully support this change. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your comments. Any other questions or comments on this item from members of the audience? That ends our first reading of our workshop agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, sorry.
Thank you. No, that's all right. I took the liberty on that one. That brings us to item 8, the mayor's report, and I have just one thing I want to mention tonight. I believe it was maybe a month or so ago, a couple months ago, I mentioned that our very own Brayer Teague, who is head of the music program at Downers Grove North High School here in our fine community, was one of 25 finalists for essentially a Grammy Award that is made available to music educators. It's called the Grammy Foundation Music Educator Award. He has now made it down to the finalists, the top 10. So a total of 10 music teachers from 10 cities across 8 states have been announced as finalists for the 3rd Annual Music Educator Award. In total, more than 4,500 initial nominations were submitted from all 50 states, and we're very proud of Mr. Teague and our own music program here, and we have fantastic music programs at both Downers Grove North and Downers Grove South. So we're really glad to see Brayer recognized in this way, and we wish him absolute luck in hopefully winning the whole thing. That would be pretty darn awesome, but regardless of the outcome, the fact that he made it to the top 10 in a very, very, very competitive environment, I think it's just fantastic. So we wish him the best of luck to be selected for the 2016 Grammy Music Educator Award. And that ends my report. Brings us to item 9, the manager's report.
No report tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Brings us to item 10, village attorney's report. Ms. Petrarca?
Thank you, Mayor. Only one item to present this evening. That is an ordinance amending the village council meeting schedule. That is all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That brings us to, well, before we go to item 11, do any members of the village council have any items of new business they would like to raise at this point in time? And let's go to item 11, council member reports. This is an opportunity for members of the village council to share with those in the audience and those watching at home any items of interest or goings on in the community. I'll start with Commissioner White.
No report.
Thank you. Commissioner Vitimo.
No report.
Commissioner Waldeck.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have a report. A lot of activity in the downtown with the holidays approaching. The Downtown Management Corporation met last Thursday. I'm sad to report that Mike Bussey, president of the Community Bank of Downers Grove, announced that he will be leaving the bank, and therefore will be leaving the board of the Downtown Management Corporation. We will miss Mr. Bussey, as he has been a true community banker and has led the support of many good local causes over the years. They currently have, and with him preparing to leave, they have a holiday giving program that they do annually where the bank will match donations of $10 to $50 up to $1,000 per charity to Ray Graham, Family Shelter, West Suburban Humane Society, Hope's Front Door, and the Bonfield Express. And in the past, they've raised over $75,000 for charities. Your donation can also earn you matching up to $50 in what they call Bussey Bucks. So I imagine this will be the last year for the Bussey Bucks, which can be used for Gatto's, Olive Tap, Cellar Door, RBK, Sushi House, and the Valley Doyle. So check out the details on the Community Bank of Downers Grove website at www.downersgrovebank.com. And we wish the best for Mike Bussey in his future. Other notes from the Downtown Management Corporation, they have Handmade gingerbread houses are on display throughout the downtown. If you find the gingerbread man in the participating businesses, and you find 14, you win a prize, and if you find all 28, you win another prize. Ginger Bucks reward card, spend $100 at participating businesses, and you are entered in a drawing for $100 in downtown Downers Grove gift certificates. Complimentary visits with Santa in his gingerbread house at Main and Curtis, Saturdays and Sundays. We got Santa on weekends, and he's here from 1 to 4 through December 20th, so we got him as his busy time. Get over there on Saturdays and Sundays between 1 and 4 and wish him luck for his trip and tell him what you want. I will. Join the merchants for a special shopping day, Merry Madness, December 17th. Most businesses are open till 9. Downtown gift certificates are available. And other happenings, check out www.downtowndg.org. And so we just passed the tax levy, and we've been dealing with budgets for the last few months. A big part of our budget is sales tax, so you're all going to be shopping, so it behooves you to shop in Downers Grove and to support our downtown. Thank you, Mayor. That's one of my longest versions of, but it's that time of year. Thank you.
It is indeed. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Jose.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to echo what Commissioner Waldeck said. You kind of stole my thunder there. Shop local, shop in Downers Grove. Thank you.
Thank you. And one last thing from my perspective, as long as we're shopping local, you can when you get nice and thirsty, you can also drink local now. I'm sure everyone saw there was a terrific piece in Crane's Chicago Business about the newest craft brewery that will be opening in Downers Grove very soon. Alter Brewing will be opening its doors to the public on December 18th, just in time for the holidays. A lot of anticipation amongst this facility from the trailer I've seen so far. It looks like a very, very handsome facility. Should be a terrific addition to Downers Grove. Where is it, everyone keeps asking? Well, of course, it's located at 2300 Wisconsin, number 213, which is in the Ellsworth Industrial Park. I think it'll be a terrific addition to our community, another reason for people to, let's say it all together, shop local. Very good. Who says we can't work together? That's all I have. That brings us to item 12. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. We are adjourned. Thank you and good night.